edition of the Make More Marbles podcast. If you are just tuning in, please do check out the recap I made earlier from our Money Mastermind / Wealth Workshop with Better Wealth. We had 4 incredible speakers, guest speakers. We had our team, myself, Caleb, Jeremy, Dan Kaminsky, Josh Curtis, just some incredible people that manage and have managed billions of dollars, as well as have had billion-dollar exits, done billion-dollar deals, and operated and run thousands of companies between them, like really incredible people. So if you want to learn how billionaires think about money, really comes down to one word, leverage, but more detailed information is in that video. So go check it out. It's entitled Recap from the Money Mastermind this weekend. So definitely check that out. Today, I want to also talk about, since this is specific content weekly for Masterminds for Entrepreneurs, is how to really do a world-class mastermind. So if you guys don't remember, I went through my notes from a few of the world-class masterminds I was attending over this last 6-8 weeks. It's just been a whirlwind. I've been to so many great events. So I've been taking notes at each event to really get clear on like, what are the things that set these masterminds apart from other masterminds? And obviously it's the people and the content's great and all that stuff, you know, but it's like the little things like the snacks and the way they do offers and the way they do just the quirky shit that they do, which is really fun. So I just went to Genius Network, and Joe and I have been connecting a little more and getting to know him a little bit better. And he's kind of like, I could see myself extrapolating towards his level at some point in the future. He's been at this since the late 90s, so at least 30 years. And it's been really cool to see him grow. And now Genius is thriving. They've got nearly 300 members in the 25K, and they're working on the 100K, filling that as well. So I did join Genius. I'd like to, everybody says you can't be a part of too many masterminds, but I will be the first to find out, because now I'm a part of 7. So
Jeez, Brad.
It's a lot. So 2023 is going to be the year of no, but for now, I want to make sure I would deliver for you guys. So here are my notes from Genius Network and some of the things I really like the way they did it. Let me just pull these up. So Genius Network.
Oh, Brad, before we get started, we got to celebrate somebody.
What's that?
One of your clients, Kristen, had her baby.
Oh, that's right. So Kristen Schwartz, who we know and love dearly, just had a baby this week. And she was so grateful. Before she went on maternity leave for 2 months, she was able to just completely shut off her business, walk away, set up some landing pages. People continue to come in. People continue to buy from her. People continue to put down deposits for retreats and workshops and masterminds. And she basically said this wouldn't have been possible if she hadn't been working with us for the last year. So grateful to Christine. Thank you so much for reminding me. Christine, you're a rock star. I also want to give a shout out to Jasmine, who is another client turned girlfriend turned fiance, who is, she just got an award for increasing her business year over year by 50%. So clap it up for Jasmine.
That's insane. Good on her.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
so
congrats to all of you who stick with it. Business is not easy. It's not easy to run a business. It's not easy to grow into that person. I was doing a podcast earlier today with Ridgely from Groove, and Mike Filsame, and he run groove.cm, I think it is. And they have this really cool, kind of SaaS software for business owners. And he's the same guy.
It's amazing. I use it. I use it myself.
He built EverWebinar. He built Webinar Jam and all these really cool software. Kartra. Yeah.
It was behind Kartra as well.
So yeah, Groove is awesome. And I was telling Ridgely, I'm like, hey, he's like, what's one piece of entrepreneur advice you would give? And the thing we landed on was, if you were already the person that could have all the things you want, then you'd already have them, right? Everybody starts a business because they want more freedom or more money or more time with their family or whatever it is, right? More time with their dog in Jasmine's case. But if you were the person who could already have that, you would already have those things. So what do you need to do? You need to grow into the person who can have those things. And if you knew how hard it was going to be over 5, 10, 15 years of doing business, and how difficult it was going to be and how many challenges you're going to have to go through, like, you wouldn't probably start. So God, in his wisdom and grace, or her wisdom and grace, has decided to parse it out at the level you can handle over the long term. Your job is just to keep going through it and keep figuring it out. So like, I've had to have a lot of hard conversations. We're running bigger events. We have more team members. We have a lot more going on, and everything you can think of, from like homeless people showing up to our events, literally true story, starting harassing our guests, to, people wanting refunds after we've already done all the work and delivered it. to, just all these things that like 10 years ago would have spiraled me out for a month or at least a couple days where I would be off my game. But now it's like I'm dealing with 2 or 3 big fires in a day and getting better at training and building systems around myself so that I don't have to deal with that. And wherever you're at in your journey, I just want to let you know it gets better, it gets easier. You deal with stuff more often, but you don't grow unless you deal with it. So deal with it and continue to grow and you'll get where you want to be. So Chris, do you have any thoughts before we dive right into what I learned at Genius Network?
No, I can't agree more. I'm an ex-police officer. If you told me all the stuff that I'd have to go through as an entrepreneur,
you might have stayed in the cop game.
I was gonna say I would have told you, no, I'll just go back to the police. It's easier to have people pull guns on you than to deal with all this stuff. Yeah. Because you're dealing with yourself. You're dealing with yourself every single day, and dealing with yourself is actually harder than dealing with somebody else.
And when you start taking full responsibility for your situation, it gets better, but it also gets worse because now everything is your fault.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say it's worth it.
It's
worth it because, I just went to Queenstown, the city, beautiful city. It's kind of like Lake Tahoe here in New Zealand with my wife. And I was able to do that with flexibility and freedom because I run my own business. She was able to buy that ticket and I didn't have to sit there and apply for leave and worry about work. And I could just take it with me and I could just do it and I could do it on my terms. So it's worth it. And without your help, Brad, I wouldn't be where I am. You were the very first person, first mentor, first entrepreneur that I trusted into, and fully jumped in, literally whole body, soul, everything. And it's been totally worth the journey. So if you guys are, find somebody. That's all I can say.
Well, and that's the other thing is people like get so hung up on the money and they don't get the help that they need. And they think it's a lot of money. And I get that because it is a lot of money to you, but in the long scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. There's trillions of dollars out there, gang. So get over that, get over the hump, get into mentorship, get into masterminds, because the money will come back to you tenfold. Every mastermind I've joined, I've been a part of a lot of them, has produced an ROI because I show up and I blow up and I make the relationships happen. And, I got some really great compliments over the weekend. Like, Steve Little, who I've been friends with for now 6-7 years, is like, hey, I want you in my 5 and I really want to do more business with you. And Nick Bradley's like, hey, we really need to do stuff. And these are $1 billion guys, like 1,000 transactions under their belt. They grow businesses and expand what's possible. And like, I've been asking, like, how am I going to get to the path of billionaire? And you can't do it without leverage. So these are the relationships that are going to help me get there. And Dan Fleischman, just kind of as an aside, being like, Brad frickin' knows everybody. He does the work. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's like a really cool thing for somebody like Dan fucking Fleischman to say. So anyway, without further ado, the meat of this presentation is what I learned at Genius Network. Joe Polish, great guy. He's been doing this for a very long time. And I want to just share some of the things that they did differently from some other masterminds, which I thought were really great. So first thing is that they have a gifting room. So that is a room you can go into in the hotel where everybody can put their book or their whatever thing that is for offer. And you kind of just go around the room and you have a nice, tote bag and you grab whatever books speak to you. And I have quite a bit of reading material now for the winter. I'm very excited. I love when things slow down after November 15th and start to get chill, because that allows me to get clear on what's next for next year. I already have my theme for next year, which is 2023, the year of no. I'm not going to be taking on any new projects, new partnerships, new relationships, unless they already feed what I'm already doing. So I have enough on my plate. Now it's time to digest. The gifting room is really cool. I like it. I'm going to do that going forward. Booths with demos in the lobby. So if you have a product or a service or something you're doing, like they had Influex, my friend Dima was there. He had his 2 monitors up and he had his nice websites that he's built and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool. These are really nice and personally branded. I'm not a client of his, but I decided to put my website up as well as a joke while they were gone. So they found that and thought that was funny. The branded bags, you carry around stuff in. Having a welcome session for new members. So Genius is a big mastermind. The annual event had nearly 300 people. And just having a kind of welcome session to bring everybody into the fold. Alex Mendozian did a great job at putting everybody, in the right place, the right time. Did a couple exercises, had a couple jokes, a couple laughs, and, really seeded the idea of the ROI. It's like you come to the mastermind to get the 1 or 2 or 3 big ideas that are going to be worth 50, 100K to your business. And if you look at it like that, the 10K that you paid to be there really seems like a no-brainer when you consider that one idea could add 100K to your business. And that's how we kind of position everything. It's like, if I can't add 10 times the value of what I'm charging, then I have no business charging it. But if I'm confident that one deal, one connection, one person, one opportunity can be worth 6 figures or more, then I have no problem charging 5 figures. And if it's worth 7 figures, I have no problem charging 6 figures. So that's really just a mindset shift, I think, for everybody going into an event, and a really great way to frame the event. So that was one thing. Having curated tables, meaning like the people you're supposed to meet at the event, taking some time to really think about who is at the table and having people switch tables from day to day. That was something they did, which I've seen at other masterminds. It's not the only one that does that. They do that at Mastermind Talks and a few others, but I think that makes sense. And if it's a smaller group, you're starting with 5, 10, 15 people, make sure you do some forethought ahead of time when you're like, sitting there the day before or the week before when all your attendees are kind of known. Okay, let me make sure that so-and-so is attached to so-and-so. Let me make sure I connect James with Joe or Chris with Deborah or whoever that needs to meet each other, so that at the very least, because everybody. And if you don't do that, they're going to have to kind of wing it and figure it out, versus if you know everybody and you're like, make sure that everybody comes away with at least one good connection. That's a huge value add. So that's great. Having members share stories about how Genius has changed their life. Obviously that's really helpful. Different worksheets. They're like the king of worksheets over there. When you go to Joe's office, there's like a whole Rolodex thingy. What do you call that thing? It's like the sunglasses on the rack that's like spins around. I guess it's just a rack.
Oh, I don't know. I call it sunglasses.
Yeah, that rack, for documents, like they got one full of that. So like every exercise you can think of has on there. The riffs that he talks about, how he turns them into art. Like if you go in his office also, he has like these things that he says over and over again, these kind of catchphrases. And he just has this really cool artist that goes and creates them. Entrepreneurship takes balls and, like little cartoons about entrepreneurship and, fun stuff like that. So I really love it. The pitch isn't super powerful. It's not like, beating people over the head, but they really did a good job at highlighting the biggest, I think, objections that most people go through when they're thinking about joining another mastermind. I mean, I'm a buyer. I want to buy, but every time I have that conversation with myself, it's like, fuck, do I really need to be in another mastermind? Can I even commit to this? And every time I end up doing it because I know that, one more connection is never going to hurt me. And it's the relationships that you're building. And it's a reason to see people that you already know. Right. So one of the challenges in having a lot of deep relationships or a lot of like acquaintances is it's hard to go deep because how many people are you going to have a phone call with? How many people are you actually going to spend time with? Like, that's why I do masterminds in the first place, because I just don't have enough bandwidth to keep relationships going with everybody. So joining these masterminds that people are already going to be a part of gives me an excuse to go see these people, catch up for a few minutes and keep that connection going, even when I'm too busy to follow up one-on-one. So that's really helpful. The food was on point. Iced tea station, really solid. I love sober people when they bring iced tea and lemon. Thank you for that. They have ushers and just people around to kind of answer questions and get people where to go. The healthy snacks, the healthy meals. Like I said, the 5 big objections that Alex came up with. Too busy with other commitments. Belong to too many other masterminds. Can't imagine a 10x return. Doesn't seem to be the ideal networking group for my business. I already know a lot of the other members. I want to interact with them in some way, or you're kind of on the inside or you're on the outside. So like having those as the front and center pieces when you're thinking about joining a mastermind, these are the objections you're going to get over and over again at that level of entrepreneur where they're considering $30,000 masterminds. You have to consider like, okay, what do they care about most? How do we overcome that? And how do we make it clear that this is the right room for them? Open questions that people are asking. So you can talk about that with the whole group, because likely if somebody's asking it, more people are asking it. I think that's about it. So I wanted to share those notes. I thought they were really good. And I've done other videos like this before. So you can refer back to our other, millionaire mastermind interviews, our other masterminds like Flight Club and Pathfinder and a few others that we've talked about. You can go on over to the guides and get some more ideas. And obviously, as always, if you want to join Build a Mastermind, which is our flagship program to teach you how to build a mastermind to increase your income and impact in less time, and your network and your deal flow and all that great stuff that we've been able to do and accomplish with masterminds, that's the baseline of everything we do, right? This wealth workshop, Money Mastermind this weekend had some of the best and heaviest hitting people that I know. Really awesome. Want to continue to do those. So if you want to learn how to build those for yourself and your own business and continue to create these relationships like I'm doing, like Chris is doing, like a lot of our members are doing, just head on over to buildamastermind.com/schedule-now. Or I think it's just the same link as marbles.link/apply, whatever's easier for you to type in. But Chris is going to put that in the comments.
Yep.
Thank you very much. And we just want to make a quick video, add some value. I'm learning so much right now and I'm absorbing so much like a sponge. So these videos are really helpful for me too, to be able to like recap what we've learned and why it's important and everything. So I appreciate Chris letting me get on here and ramble and talk to you guys about everything I'm learning, because I'm literally filling notebooks full of notes and on my phone. So Just grateful for the opportunity, gang, to serve you as always. If this is the way you want to go to grow your business, relationships are recession proof.
Yeah.
I don't care that the world is melting down economically. Relationships are recession proof, and you want to build relationships regardless of how your business is doing. It's great if your business is doing well too, but it's important.
I want to add something to that. Like, I remember when I was in the police and when I was in my darkest days, I was walking around protecting the most important people of the country and going into businesses that now I wish I had the contact details for. And, I didn't save cards. I didn't keep those relationships going. But now that I am an entrepreneur, and since I left, since meeting you and seeing the impact of relationships, even as with my wife who does events and that as well, her talking about the relationships. Like, if I didn't have a relationship with you, Brad, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am. I can still bounce off of after being in Build a Mastermind. What was that? That's 4 years ago.
Yeah. And now you're 600 paying clients later. That wouldn't have been helped if you hadn't said yes and stepped up.
It's more around the relationships that I've met from the mastermind. Like, I've got AJ. Like, I still reach out to AJ from time to time, and like, we're on beyond just me, somebody who follows him on Instagram and Facebook. Like, when I message him, he personally messages me back, and we go, "Hey, how's it going?" Because we're in a mastermind together.
And that's AJ Mirzad, right?
Yeah, Mirzad. Yeah, that's the one. I couldn't remember his last name or how to pronounce it. But you've got guys like him. I've got now I'm in networks with other people that are making 7 figures and that, and I have a relationship with them where I can go, Brad, I just need to bounce an idea off of you, or AJ, I just need to bounce an idea off of you, and you'll give me the time to do it, and then put me in the right direction. And that's the power of the networks of creating these masterminds, as well as being amongst them. Because you meet people that you didn't know you would meet, or that you didn't know that you needed to meet. And so I just wanted to add that in there. And that's lit. Yeah. Like, this is why I'm moving back to the States for 3 months next year, so that I can be closer to those circles that I want to be part of. So networking is everything. So
yeah, and that's another good point, is like, people have this objection. They're like, well, I can't do this in person, and it's too much to travel. I mean, find a way, make a way to get into those rooms. And I agree, virtual sucks. I'm over it. I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I love you guys and I want to support you, but it's nothing like being in the room with you. I can change your life so much faster with that vibration. It's like, it's a joke. It really is.
When people make up excuses and stuff for stuff, like me coming back to the States, is it easy? No. Is it going to be 100% right? No. Am I going to make it work? Yes, because I'm putting it out there that it has to happen, that people are tired of virtual as well. And they'll make up excuses of stuff because you don't have to be in the room. And so my 2 cents on that is, like you said, virtual is great, and it makes it so that we can do things like this. Brad and I are on the other sides of the world, but also at the same time, start making excuses on how to make it happen, how to actually get to where you want to get to, that version of yourself that we talked about in the very beginning, that you want to work through, and then get yourself in the room to get there as fast, get there quicker, and learn from others' mistakes. And like, you're doing 7 masterminds, man. I'm part of like 3 at the moment, and I'm like, wow, how do you do it, Brad?
Yeah, and to be fair, like, I'll be whittling them down. So, like, Genius makes a lot of sense because Joe is somebody I want to be more like. He's really well networked and connected. He's here in Phoenix, which makes a lot of sense because I live here now, and I get to attend a lot more events locally, and I don't have to travel. And our masterminds we're running together, Jay and I and Caleb and I, they're coming to Phoenix as well. So that makes it a lot easier on me to travel and not have to travel so much, again, on a plane all the time. But I'll start to whittle away at other ones that just are either virtual, which I don't want to do anymore, or they're not as high value for what I'm trying to do, and really focus and drill in on the relationships and the opportunities I already have. Because I'm in that phase of my life where I could endlessly continue to expand the opportunity scope, but I can't realistically put my attention on more than a few projects at a time and keep them going and healthy and on point. So unless it's recruiting people to work on these companies or raising money, like I'm not going to be pushing for more relationships.
And that's how it should be. And that's why we join different masterminds, so that then we can hone in on the exact thing and the direction that we want to go into.
Yeah. So I came up with a little spiel. I never thought of this before, but I really think it's 3 things you need here. It's cool. 3 mastery keys. Ready for your 3 mastery keys? 1, 2, 3.
I'm ready.
Please down. It's a master plan, it's a mastermind, and a master mentor. You need those 3 things in order to rock your socks and get things rocking. Because, at the end of the day, you need that individual attention of a mentor. You need the mastermind group, which is the greater community, clarity, content, all that great stuff. And you need the master plan, which is your guiding principle. And not that it won't change, but it's your guiding roadmap to get you where you want to go. Yeah. So if you don't know where you want to end up, you can't
get to the Empire State Building just by heading to New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And if you don't have the plan, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know how to get there. And the plan can change, but you got to have a plan. You got to be aiming towards something. If you don't have the mastermind, you don't have the community, the connections. You don't need to know everything if you know everybody. You don't have the content to learn. You don't have the connections to the right people at the right time. And you don't have the clarity necessarily from the group that kind of reveals your blind spots. And then the mentor is somebody that's already done it before, who can guide you individually and customize your journey and help you to do those other 2 things. Like, okay, these are the rooms you should be in. These are the people you should be talking to. Here's where your plan has a hole in it. Here's where, you need additional clarity on what you're doing and how to get it. So, it's not just about having one or having a few or doing it on your own or going on YouTube and good luck, right? It's about having
university.
3. Yeah. Having those 3 is really important. Nothing against YouTube. I've gotten some serious value from YouTube, but it's not like a deep masterclass, No. Let's put it this way. In the age of YouTube, why isn't everybody a billionaire with perfect abs, about to achieve enlightenment, great kids, great relationship, super happy? It's just because, people pay attention to what they pay for and what pays them. And at the end of the day, you got to really focus on the things that matter the most and move the needle the most.
Yep, totally. Can't agree more.
Okay, great. Well, let's call it. I think that's enough for today. Thank you all for watching. Definitely check out the Wealth Workshop recap, the Money Mastermind recap from this weekend. We called it a Wealth Workshop up until now. We're actually rebranding it to a Money Mastermind. So if you hear me talk about that in the future, they are one and the same. But it's really, really a great thing that we're doing. And I'm very excited about it because this allows me to up level my knowledge as well. Like, you start teaching the same thing for 4 years and you kind of get stagnant. This is like a whole new world I get to push into with a whole lot of cool people. So very excited about that. Chris, thank you as always for being here. Any final thoughts?
No, you've said it all, man. I can't say it any better. So why try and reinvent the wheel?
I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the live, #live, hit us with questions. If you're watching the replay, #replay. Let's get involved, gang. We're trying to make these videos really fun for you and give you a lot of value. So all you got to do is watch them and feedback to us what we're doing right and what we can improve on, what questions you still have, and we'll keep making you great content. All right. Until then, peace and love. Catch you next week.
Peace.